Let me play the soundbite. I imagine, were you at the press conference with Tomlin earlier today?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, which
course,
is why you're at the Steelers facility right now. This was Mike Tomlin on Aaron Rodgers' wrist and his readiness for maybe this week even.
Aaron's got a fracture in his wrist. It does not require surgery. Really, it's just about bracing it and securing it for his comfort and safety. And then it's about how functional he is. And so we don't have the answers to that as we stand here today. But certainly I would imagine we're going to get some clarity as we push through the week. I think his experience really kind of aids in that. He's the type of guy and has the type of profile that doesn't require a lot of physical work in an effort to be ready to play. And again, as I mentioned, the variables are stabilizing it and making sure that he's safe and he can protect himself, brace himself as he falls, et cetera. Pain tolerance, but that doesn't seem to be an issue with Aaron. He wanted to go back in the game on Sunday. And then lastly, obviously, how effective he can be.
All right, I'll give you the floor, Gerry. What's your 2 cents on what you heard and what you know and what you can put on the table for us here?
Well, Rich, I think they're going to probably be overly cautious because there's a lot of variables there that you heard Mike Tomlin just list. And, one of them is functionality. How good can he function? What is it going to be like taking snaps, even though the vast majority of time he's in a shotgun? The pain issue is not going to be a factor at all for him. But then it becomes, okay, a lot with some handoffs. Do you become a right-handed handoff guy, which a lot of times he does not on play action. And then, it just becomes, the safety issue too. What happens, he heard it the other day when he fell. And so if that happens again, now all of a sudden the injury's a little bit worse. So I'm going to guess based on all that he is not going to play. I'm certainly not ruling it out. But they also know they're comfortable that if Mason Rudolph has to play, it'd be different if it was just Will Howard, for example, the rookie who just came off IR. But knowing what Mason Rudolph is capable of doing and knowing the potential risk of maybe a greater injury, that injury does not, it's a fracture, but it does not need surgery. That doesn't mean that another hit or another bad fall won't cause that to not be the case. So that's going to be my guess, but I'm not going to rule them out either, only because they haven't, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, if we're talking ifs and variables, Gerry, if this was, say, the Week 15 game home for Miami or a Week 17 game at Cleveland, right, I would hear you saying, out of abundance of caution, let's not make it any worse. But this is Chicago, man. This is the home of the Bears. This is where he once told the fans, I own you. And,
which he does.
Which, by the way, I'm not disputing. I didn't stutter either, right? But this has to mean this is Rodgers, no doubt, pushing. He's got to be pushing. Didn't Tomlin even admit that he did bring this up, like he wants to play this weekend to Tomlin, Gerry?
Yes, he did, and I'm sure he does. And he wanted to go back in the game on Sunday, according to Mike Tomlin. Of course, they didn't, because at that time they didn't know the extent of his injury. They didn't want to make it worse because they didn't know what they were dealing with. That's why they didn't put him back in. But yes, he wants to play against the Bears. He's beaten them 24 times in his career. That's more than any other team that he has beaten in his 21 years. And there's no active quarterback that has beaten one team more than the other than what Aaron Rodgers has with the Bears. I think the next closest, Joe Flacco has beaten the Bengals, the old Bengals, like 24 times, or the Browns, 18. But nobody has owned one team among active quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers has owned the Bears.
Right, and he wants to play the Bears in Chicago because he doesn't know when he's going to ever get that opportunity again, schedule-wise. It may not. This is his one shot, so. That is definitely part of this, Gerry. There's no denying it.
This
week is going to be part of the dynamic.
And I think too, Rich, what could happen is though they could. This is very real as well. Is that he will start the game and they'll see how it is going. How is he performing? Is it a problem? In terms of again functionality and how effective he can be, and then they can weigh it that way. going forward. But this is a different Bears team, too, as you know, Rich. I mean, they're 7-3. They've won 7 of the last 8 games. The offense is really clicking with Ben Johnson. And so they'll want to see how effective Aaron Rodgers can be because, I don't think this is going to be 34-31, but I think they're going to have to score some points against the Bears.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.